Okay, so welcome back to the last section of this course. Now, as I said, in this section, we'll be making one big project and we'll be implementing everything we have learned so far. So what we are going to do is we are going to make a CGPA calculator, right? So instead of me telling you everything about what a calculator does, let's start working on it and you guys will understand everything on the way, right? So the very first thing which we need is we need the database of a student, right? We need the name, registration number, and we need marks. So let's go ahead and take care of that first. Now we'll be storing name in a character array, right? So let's go ahead and make a character array. We need marks in say 5 subjects. So we'll again make an integer array with 5 subjects, and we need a registration number which let's assume will be an integer. So we have made the basically a database for a student, right? So let's actually go ahead and take all these values from the user. So we'll say enter the following details and take the cursor to the next line. Name, and we need to read the name, so we'll use the scanf here, and in case of a string we use %s, and we need not use the ampersand symbol, right? So there we have the name input. Next we'll read the registration number. Number, and we'll again use the scanf statement for reading it. Since we are dealing with an integer, we'll go with %d and ampersand words now. And finally we need to read an integer array for which we need a for loop, right? So let's go ahead and make a loop variable. So we'll start it with 0 and we'll go till 4 with adding 1 every time, and we'll be reading all those values. Since they are integer values, again we'll be using %d here, and we'll be using marks of I, right? So now what we have done is we have taken care of all the inputs. We have the name, we have the registration number, and we have the marks as well. The next thing which we need to do is we need to calculate the average of these marks, right? So what we are going to do is if the average of these marks is between 90 and 100, a CGPA of 10 will be given. If the average is between 80 and 90, a CGPA of 9 will be given, and so on, right? So since we are dealing with average, we need a floating point number for storing that, and again we'll use a for loop because we have 5 different marks, so we'll need to add all of them while taking an average. So let's make a for loop again, and now what we'll do is we'll do average is equal to, now here we understand that we are dealing with one more problem. How are we supposed to add those 5 marks, right? So for that what we can do is we can make a temporary variable, right? We'll just name it temp, and before actually calculating the average, what we can do is we can add all those 5 marks and store it in temp. So what this statement here will do is it will basically add all the 5 marks and put it in one single variable called temp, right? So temp is equal to temp plus marks of 0. In the next step, temp is equal to, now temp will basically be marks of 0 plus marks of 1, and so on. So this will basically add all the 5 marks into one variable. Now we can simply go ahead and average will be equal to temp by 5, right? So that is what our average will be. Okay, so now the next step which we need to do is we need to compare these values, right? As I said, if it is greater than 90, we'll say that the CGPA is 10. So again we need another integer called CGPA. So let's go ahead and make that, and now we'll be using the if else if ladder. So we'll say if average is greater than 90, CGPA is equal to 10, right? Else if, now as you can see here I did not use any block. What happens is that if you have only a single statement after if, you need not make it in a block, right? Similarly here also we can remove these braces and we can write the single statement following it, but let's leave whatever we have done as it is and continue with our thing. So if average is greater than 80, CGPA is equal to 9. Now I want to highlight something here, and that is I am not writing that average is less than 90 again here, because if the value of average is 85, so 85 will not satisfy this condition and it will automatically come down here. So we need not worry about, adding another condition here like and average is less than 90, because when the average is greater than 90 it will automatically go to the first condition, so we need not worry about this. So let's get rid of that. Right, next again, else if average is greater than 70, we'll be giving a CGPA of say 8. Else if average is greater than 60, the CGPA is equal to 7. Else if average is greater than 50, CGPA will be 6, and anyone below 50 will fail. So we'll write else and CGPA equal to 0. Right, now let's actually add one more thing here. What we'll do is, if the CGPA is 10, we'll give the person a grade S. If the CGPA is 9, we'll give them a grade A, and so on, right? So now instead of using the if else if ladder, let's make use of the switch case. So we'll switch CGPA, and now as I said, we need to put the grade, so we need a character here. So we'll go ahead and make a new character with the name grade. Right, so now let's go ahead with a switch case and write all the conditions. Case 10 here, because when the CGPA is equal to 10, we'll be dealing with a grade. So we'll write grade is equal to S. Right, and we need the break statement as well. Now case 9, grade is equal to A. Again we need the break. Case 8, grade is equal to B. Break again. Case 7, grade will be C. Break. Case 6, grade is equal to B. Break, and everyone below 6 is fail. So we'll write the default case, which will say that grade is equal to F. Right, so there we go. We have also given the student a grade. Now we'll simply display the result. So we'll say the final CGPA is, now let's actually go ahead and put it in the next line, and we'll write percentage F, since CGPA is a floating point number, and we'll say CGPA. Oh wait, CGPA is an integer, right? So we'll go ahead with percentage D, and we'll also say printf the result print grade is, or the grade allotted is, whatever you guys want to write. We'll say percentage C, and we'll display the value of grade. So that is what the program should do. It should display the CGPA as well as the grade. So let's actually run this thing and see if it works properly. We need to save it before it runs, so I'll save it as cgpa.c, and now let's go ahead and execute it. Hopefully we get a few errors. Oh my god, we have no errors. Wow, that's amazing. So enter the following details. My name is Aquib and my registration number is say 17. Alright, why is this happening now? Okay, enter the following details, and we did not give any prompt for the marks here, so let's actually go ahead and close it and work on it before we try it out. So we'll go ahead and we'll say enter the marks in 5 subjects. ECTS, right, and that sounds good to me. Okay, now here's a quick tip. The scanf actually places the cursor to the next line automatically, right? So why I did this manually here is that there is no scanf here, so the name will come to the next line because of this \n. But as you saw, registration number was automatically on the next line, and that is because scanf automatically moves the cursor to the next line when it reads the value, right? Okay, so let's run it again. Thank God we got an error. Wow. You know, the more errors you solve, the better you get. And I realize that I have not placed a semicolon here. So let's try it out again. Perfect, it's running fine. Again, I'll enter my name, I'll enter the registration number and enter the marks in 5 subjects. 89, 87, 67. Okay, so that program exited with an error, and here is the reason why we missed the ampersand. As I told you guys, ampersand is very important. Let's try it out again. 17, 78, 89, 87, 67 and 50. Okay, so final CGPA is 8 and the resultant grade is B. Oh shit, I did very bad in the exams. Alright, so that is what we made here. We made a simple basic CGPA calculator, and now I'll tell you guys something very interesting by which you can share this thing with every single person you know, right? So now we are working in the Dev C++ software, right? So we are running our code only here. We don't know how to actually use it outside the software. So what if I tell you guys that you need not do anything else? You can use this code directly right now. So what you can do is just go to file, go to save as, and just look at the location wherever you have saved it, right? So it's saved in my computer and it's saved in section 3. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go to that location on my computer. So there we go, we have our CGPA file dot right here, and we have something else also. That is something, if you go ahead and you check out the properties, you will see that it is a .exe file. Now 90% of you guys might know that .exe is basically used for executing programs throughout the Windows platform, right? So let's actually run this and see what we get. So when we open the .exe file, we get our program right here. So that is what I meant. We never made the CGPA file or the .exe file by our own, right? What happens is that whenever we compile our program and whenever it runs successfully, the Dev C++ software automatically makes a .exe file for us to use. So that is where we get the .exe file from, and now this file can be used anywhere on any laptop without any software, right? You need not have a Dev C++ software or anything. Just like normal exe files, you can use this .exe file also for running your code. So now, and if any one of your friends wants the CGPA calculated, you can go ahead and give them this thing. So that is how you actually make a program. You get a few errors in between, and you should get a few errors in between. An error-free code, I don't support an error-free code because you know, the more errors you solve, the better you get. So that's all I have for you guys in this tutorial. Hope you guys liked it. Go ahead, make your own thing. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.